LiveHipHopDaily.tv.
Good afternoon, this great Monday afternoon, and you are actually tuned into the first episode of These Urban Times on Live Hip Hop Daily TV. First and foremost, we want to just shout out and thank everyone who helped us to get to this position. We got a live show and a live show set for you guys today and this entire week. I want to give a big shout out to H, the man behind the machine. That is Live Hip Hop Daily TV. As always, shout out to my man Danny Digital. Friends, family, we are here, and I am going to do my best to give you all the news you need in sports, music, and entertainment on a daily basis. Now, we're going to kick this thing off right. As many of you know who have been following me for years, not only do we do big things in music and entertainment, but we've also shifted and been doing big things in sports. We got to give a lot of love to the Atlanta Hawks, and I know a lot of you are, you're an Atlanta Hawks fan, The Hawks will forever be deep into my heart because they were the first NBA team to give me and my team a chance to actually get on the hardwood floor and cover their players. So the Hawks are always going to be very special to me and my heart as far as my career is concerned. Now, the Hawks are not in the playoffs anymore as we're down in the NBA Finals to the final two teams, as we all know at this point, are the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. However, the Atlanta Hawks are only one of two teams in the NBA, being the Hawks and the Spurs, who have been in the NBA playoffs for 10 consecutive seasons. Now, those 10 consecutive playoff berths have not yet equaled into an NBA championship, but the Hawks are well on their way. On Friday, June 2nd, the Atlanta Hawks just recently introduced their new GM, Travis Sling. Now, Travis Sling comes from a great championship tree, I want to say. He's been around the NBA for many, many years. He did things as a video coordinator. He worked with the Miami Heat, so he's been around Dwayne Wade and that championship organization. He worked very closely with Pat Riley. He's worked with Chuck Daly. He also now, before taking over this role as GM with the Atlanta Hawks, was the assistant GM of the Golden State Warriors, who once again are in the NBA Finals for their third consecutive season. During his introductory press conference on Friday, we had the opportunity to talk with Mr. Slink, and he broke down his goals and his plans for the 2017-18 NBA season with the Atlanta Hawks. Now, many Hawks fans know their big free agent this year will be Paul Millsap. Paul Millsap was in the final year of his contract last season. He has opted out of his deal, so he will enter into free agency this year, into the free agency period this year, not as a member of the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks can, however, pay him the most money over a 5-year span of time. So Mr. Travis spoke on keeping Paul Millsap here and having that be one of his number one goals. He also assured us that he's looking to bring a new character, or a new personality rather, to the Hawks family. He wanted to be player friendly throughout the entire building. He also wants to form a championship formula, I guess you could say. He did it in Golden State, and he wants to be able to do that not through free agency, but through the draft and the development of players. Good things for us. We have now two gentlemen who will be moving into their sophomore years, rookie Malcolm Delaney, who will be on the show on Wednesday, and rookie Taurean Prince. Both of those two guys right now will look to be as possible focal points of the Hawks moving forward. So we'll be looking forward to see what Mr. Slink can add on to what we have with Prince and Delaney, see what young talent can come on board and see what he plans to do. Now, one of the big questions of the afternoon was about Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard had his first year. Last year was his first year as a member of the Atlanta Hawks, the hometown kid with the Hawks. Quietly, Dwight Howard had one of his best seasons as an NBA center. He averaged about 13 points and 13 rebounds. It just didn't show, it appeared, every night as the Hawks played. Now, many Hawks fans and so-called media experts have been saying that Dwight was the issue. Dwight's a ball stopper. The Hawks aren't able to play that free-flowing style of basketball that Coach Bud likes to play with Dwight Howard in action. But Mr. Slink spoke heavy on his goal to sit down with Dwight Howard and actually find some common ground and see how they can get things going. Dwight was definitely a staple. He was one of the best defensive players in the paint this year. It just seemed like the Hawks weren't able to get things done with Dwight on the floor. So they'll be looking to make some new moves, and it was a very dope press conference. I left there kind of assured. I wasn't quite sure what we were going to get with the new GM. We heard some names that the Hawks would possibly be looking at interviewing, and Chauncey Billups and Grant Hill They didn't go into depth about the other GM meetings. They did let us know, though, that it appeared that Mr. Slink had the most tools. They spoke to us about, meeting with the Dumars and meeting with Chauncey, and it seemed like all of those guys, they specialize in specific areas, but Mr. Slink specialized in an abundance of areas. So we'll be looking forward to see if that'll turn into a championship with our Atlanta Hawks in the next few years. Now, he said it could be a 7-year process. A few of us, we looked around at the room. I don't know if we have another 7 years to wait for a championship here in Atlanta. But he did assure us that he'll be looking to get the ball rolling, keep things rolling as far as the Atlanta Hawks are concerned, and keep them in that playoff championship mode. So we'll be looking to see what goes on with our Hawks. Now, also sporting news in Atlanta, we'll be moving on to the WNBA and our Atlanta Dream. Now, our Atlanta Dream yesterday moved on to a record of 4-2, after losing to the Washington Mystics. It was 78-72. Now, they're on the road right now. The Washington Mystics coming to yesterday's game with a record of 5-2. They also this year, for the first time, have superstar Della Don on their team. Now, last year, she was a member of the Chicago Sky, Elena Della Don. She's the MVP of the WNBA, but she decided to take her talents a little bit closer to home. She's from the tri-state area, so she went back to the Washington Mystics. And our Atlanta Dream, although they came close to picking up a big victory yesterday, they weren't able to do it. Tiffany Hayes was the leading scorer for our Atlanta Hayes yesterday. She led the game with 24 points, but Elena Della Don was just a monster offensively. She finished the game with 23 points and 15 rebounds. Now, our Dream won't return home until we're talking about 2 more weeks. It's June 23rd when they'll return home. They're on a 5-game road trip, so now they still have 4 games remaining on that road trip. But one of the highlights that we can speak on with our Dream has been the play of Tiffany Hayes. Now, Tiffany Hayes was just recently named May's WNBA Eastern Conference Player of the Month. Tiffany Hayes, up until yesterday, was leading the Atlanta Dream to a record of 4-1. She also was leading the league in scoring. Della Don averaged 20 points, and Tiffany, is just right ahead of that. She opened the game with 19 points in their season opener on May 30th up in Connecticut against the Connecticut Sun. Now, Tiffany, this will be her first year actually having the reins and running the show for the Atlanta Dream as Dream All-Star / MVP. Angel McCarthy has taken a little bit of time off to get things to heal a little bit. She's been playing in the Olympics, then overseas in WNBA ball, and she's moving into other fields in the business realm. So this will be Tiffany's team. So we may see Tiffany as an MVP candidate as the WNBA season moves along. I'll be very interested to see exactly what our Dream do, as they still are top of the East. But as I gave mention to, they won't be back here in Georgia Tech until June 23rd. So we still got about 2 weeks before we'll be able to see our Atlanta Dream return home, but we'll be looking forward to that and looking forward to seeing what they can do. Now, yesterday, I actually had an opportunity to expand my horizons. I had the opportunity to check out some lacrosse, believe it or not. And that's typically, it's not a sport that's it's not a black sport. You don't see too many blacks out there playing. I don't want to say it's not an urban sport, because I was pleasantly surprised. It's in Gwinnett County. Those who are in the Atlanta area, that's a suburb of Atlanta. If you're not in the Atlanta, it's a suburb. A lot of people feel that folks in Gwinnett County don't necessarily want ATLians in Gwinnett, so there isn't really transportation that goes to public transportation, rather that goes to Gwinnett County. It's a world of its own out there. You don't see too many of us in Gwinnett County, if you get my drift. So when I got the opportunity, when I was invited out to catch the lacrosse game, I said, you know what, let me go out there, expand my horizons and see what's going on. I was pleasantly surprised. So our Georgia Swarm, they're participating in the NLL Champions Cup. So basically, that's like the NBA Finals. It's the finals for lacrosse. It would be the NBA Finals if it was the Atlanta Hawks. For our Swarm, it's the Champions Cup. And the Swarm picked up a big win yesterday, 18-14 over Saskatchewan. So they now lead the series 1-0. Now in lacrosse, there aren't any 7-game series. It's the best of 3. So our game yesterday was in Gwinnett. They'll be playing again on Sunday in Saskatchewan. Now, if the Swarm win that game, they're the champions. It will only be the 4th championship in Atlanta sports history. The 4th championship. And unfortunately, none of those include the Falcons or the Hawks. So we'll be looking to see if the Swarm can get it done. But one of the main reasons that I was actually invited and went out and decided to take the opportunity to see what was going on with the Swarm was because Luda, Mr. Lover Ludacris was in the building yesterday, and he gave fans a show like none other. Now, Ludacris performed at halftime of the Georgia Swarm's victory yesterday. I'll say it was about a 15-minute performance. Their halftime was 15 minutes long. He pretty much performed the entire halftime. He dove into his catalog. He performed Yeah. What else did he perform? He performed Move. You know how that song goes. And once again, there weren't many of us in the audience, or many that look like me, I'll say, in the audience. And the crowd was rocking. It just goes to show how diverse Ludacris is, and to show that, you know, his music his music has crossed lanes that are untouchable. Yeah, he's a Fast and the Furious star. Of course, now he's on MTV's Fear Factor. That's also a big thing. So, you know, he's crossing over into many rounds. But to actually see the reception that Ludacris received yesterday at a lacrosse game was pretty phenomenal. So, you know, if you ever get a chance, as I said, it's coming down to the end of the year. They're in their championship game. If Saskatchewan does somehow pick up a win in game 2, there will be a third and final game back here in Gwinnett. It will be on Father's Day. That would be June 18th. So, and if possible, if the NBA Finals goes 7 games, that would be their 7th game on the 18th as well. So Father's Day could shape up to be a big day in sports. If you get a chance, follow the Georgia Swarm if you're in the Atlanta area, because they do a lot of dope things. I was pleasantly surprised. Their arena music consisted of DMX and K-Camp. I mean, it was very, very, very urban. It was a very urban setting. And I also have to give a big shout out to Miles. I met a gentleman yesterday, Miles Jones. He'll be playing for the Swarm pretty soon. African-American young man went to Duke University, and many are calling him the future of lacrosse. So a black man, they're acknowledging as the future of lacrosse. They call him the LeBron James of the sport. I had an opportunity to sit down and talk with the guy. He's actually going to come through here in a few weeks and sit down and talk to us about his journey, how he got into lacrosse, being an African-American player, playing lacrosse. But I had a few moments to actually sit down and talk with the cat. Pretty intelligent young man. I enjoyed our conversation. I'll be looking forward to build and see what he has going on. But make sure you check him out. And as he can, continues to grow in this world, in the lacrosse world. Now, H, I'm going to bring you in on our next topic and whatnot. Many may know I'm a big Laker fan. Been a Laker fan since I was a little boy, since '88. I've been a Laker fan. I was born in '84. Since '88, I've been a Lakers fan. And it's been rough the last few years. Last few years for the Lakers have been rough. Even before Kobe's retirement, with Kobe, coming down the mountain and going to the lower valley days of his career, things, as a Laker fan, it was I had to deal with a lot. This year we have the number 2 pick in the draft. The Boston Celtics have the number 1 pick. The LA Lakers have the number 2 pick. The Philadelphia 76ers, my hometown, Philadelphia 76ers, they had the number 3 pick. I'm quite sure, unless you've been asleep under a rock at this point, whether you follow sports or if you just follow basic news, you've heard the names Lonzo Ball and LeVar Ball. If you have not, I'll give you a brief introductory into who these gentlemen are. Lonzo Ball is largely viewed as possibly being the top overall talent in the 2017 NBA draft. He's a native of California, Chino Hills, California. He was recently a freshman for the UCLA Bruins. Now his team, they got knocked off. They didn't win a national championship or anything like that. They lost to Kentucky. He went out in pretty hard fashion because De'Aaron Fox had about 20. The gentleman he was thinking that played on Kansas had about 38 points on him. So it wasn't Lonzo's best performance in prime time or as the spotlight was on him. But many have been watching Lonzo not just because of his game, but because of his father, LeVar Ball. LeVar Ball, once again, is the father of Lonzo Ball. LeVar Ball has 3 young sons. Lonzo, who will be moving on to the NBA this year. LiAngelo, who is a senior in high school at Chino Hills, who will be moving on to be a UCLA Bruin. He'll be a freshman next year. And then his youngest son, Melo, who will be going to UCLA in 2 years, who will still be playing at Chino Hills. So he has 3 sons. All 3 of his sons are largely known as top 50, I'll say, players throughout high school. They all have been getting scholarship offers, across the land and everything. So he has 3 young kids that possibly one day will all 3 be in the NBA. He believes they'll all 3 be NBA All-Stars. That's yet to be, yet to be determined. We had to first see what Lonzo does. now that LeVar is here and he has his oldest son moving on to the NBA, he's trying to teach his sons how to be businessmen, how to take their craft and their money and everything they've done up until this point and become young entrepreneurs. He has a brand, Big Baller brand. Once again, his last name is Ball. He has BBB, the Big Baller brand. Now, this brand has been catching a lot of slack through some, not me. I have some merchandise and I wear it with pride whenever I go out in the streets. People are like, oh, that's actually a brand? You know, they're kind of surprised, I guess, see a black man have something going. But he's turned eyes for numerous reasons. You know, you have those who are digging the fact this is a black man that's an entrepreneur, you know, that's going against the grain, that's, you know, he's the underdog. He's not looking to go up against the Nike. He's not looking to join a Nike or a Reebok. He's looking to build partnerships or just go on and do his own thing. However, in doing this, he's turned heads because I guess his presentation, some of his comments, him and his son have a sneaker that they'll be dropping in the fall. It's the Zoe Prime. The sneaker is pretty much $495. You can get the sneaker for $900, I believe it is, in a custom case with a signature from Lonzo Ball. And you can also pick up slides. You can pick up a flip-flops, pretty much, or slides, depending on where you're from, what you call them. They're $220. Now, typically, you say you get a pair of slides for $50. I think is expensive, you know, for a pair of slides. I know some of the LeBron slides with the gel, custom gel air cells and stuff like that, they've been $100. But a typical good pair of Nike slides is about $25 to $30. So the uproar for the $225 Zoe Big Baller brand slides was one thing. And then with the $495 sneaker, it turned a lot of heads because pretty much LeVar said, if you can't afford him, you're not a big baller. So LeVar, he's been on talk show after talk show after talk show. He's been on ESPN's First Take. He's been on Fox Sports, The Undisputed with Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless. He's been on local news stations. He's been on national news stations talking about his brand, talking about being a father. Now it's time for the draft. With them being natives of the Los Angeles area, just like me, even though I was in Philly, they grew up in the mix of the Lake Show. They grew up watching Magic, watching Kobe, watching Shaq. Lonzo wants to be a Laker. LeVar wants Lonzo to be a Laker. The Lakers have the number 2 pick in the draft. Magic Johnson has been on record saying he sees a lot of himself in Lonzo, his floor vision, how he makes his teammates better, and he feels that Lonzo can be a part of the resurrection of Laker Nation. However, over the weekend, reports have been surfacing saying that if the NBA draft was today or tomorrow, or even Wednesday for that matter, the LA Lakers would not be taking Lonzo Ball. H, what's your thoughts just overall on the whole LeVar Ball, Lonzo Ball situation?
I don't believe you. I think they're gonna pick him. Why wouldn't they pick him? That's
been my whole spiel. Why wouldn't they pick him? You know,
really, I think they saying that so they don't give other teams ideas on what they're gonna do.
And that's what I was going to go into. So a few anonymous GMs have said that they don't feel Lonzo is worth the headache, although they feel as though he's a phenomenal talent. They're not quite sure if he's a superstar talent, and they're not quite sure with him not being a superstar talent if the baggage that could be his father, LeVar Ball, is worth all the nonsense. I myself think that is nonsense. I think it's nonsense. I'm gonna have to agree with what you just said. The number 1 pick, the team that had the number 1 pick in the draft is the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics and the LA Lakers, their franchises have been rivals since almost the beginning of time. You know, so if I'm your rival, and I know that, you know, if I don't like you, you don't like me, and I know you want the hot chick with the red dress on, but I can go get the hot chick. You want to dance with her, but I got an opportunity to approach her first and take her to the dance floor. Things might get a little funny. So the first reports, and once again, none of these reports have been confirmed. They're all pretty much rumors. Magic Johnson nor Jeannie Buss has come out and said yes, yay or nay to drafting Lonzo Ball. Magic Johnson has made jokes and hinted at wanting a talent such as Lonzo Ball, possibly drafting Lonzo Ball, but he has not went ahead and just said that it is what it is. We're gonna take this young man, and the Celtics have, dare I say, they've shown interest in Lonzo. Now they wanted to work Lonzo out. Lonzo declined that. When the Celtics were getting abused by the Cleveland Cavaliers in the 2017 Eastern Conference Finals, a lot of NBA analysts and other GMs were saying, well, hell, maybe we should trade Isaiah Thomas and that first pick to an anonymous team, and get a bigger player, a Paul George or a Jimmy Butler, not necessarily a more talented player, but just that, a bigger player, a guy who's physically a little bit more bigger, who they would feel would not be a defensive liability, which many feel Isaiah Thomas is. And if that does happen, if the Celtics did say this, hey, who's to say that if the Celtics decided to trade the number 1 overall pick to the Knicks, Phil Jackson, he's going to take Lonzo Ball in a heartbeat. He's been saying that they want a point guard per se, like not Fultz. Many look at Fultz as being the top scoring talent. The gentleman Markelle Fultz out of Washington, possible number 1 overall pick. Many look at him as being a top scoring talent, but they don't look at him as being a franchise player that could possibly make others better around him as Lonzo could. And as you say, if they offered the Knicks that, hell, you're getting Isaiah Thomas and you get a chance to take Lonzo Ball, so it could mess things up for the Lakers. It could mess things up for the Lakers. If you were Magic, are you taking Lonzo?
Definitely, I'm taking Alonzo all day.
And I mean, that's Brandon in the set. I think some of these GMs really don't want to see the Lakers take Lonzo, because in their mind, that's almost like LeVar winning. If Lonzo goes to the Lakers and a big baller brand is, now you're in your backyard of LA, one of the top markets in the world, you know what I'm saying? Your son, there are no focal points on the Lakers right now. Brandon Ingram is probably the most talented cat overall. I like what Julius Randle brings. I've been hearing that D'Angelo Russell was on the trade block. It's a possibility that he may not even be a Laker next year. So we'll see how that ball goes. But there are no superstars on the Lakers right now. They don't appear to be looking into free agency to bring a superstar to the team. So if Lonzo Ball is drafted by the Lakers, whenever game 1 is in November, once that Staples Center is rocking, it's on him. You know what I'm saying?
And the sneakers will start selling then.
Oh, they will definitely start selling, because as a lot of times consumers are late to the dance. And I think that was a part of LeVar's plan. The sneaker doesn't drop until November, until I believe it's around Black Friday, quite honestly. So he'll have a few weeks already into the league. Cats will have their holiday money, be ready to spend it and whatnot. And if he's one of the hottest names at that time, LeVar wins. Checkmate.
Well, the sneaker won't sell unless Lonzo really gets busy, because if he sucks, then it's garbage.
Do you think the young man has the potential to be an NBA All-Star? Do you see that in him?
No, I don't. I think he's regular.
Really?
Honestly, he doesn't look like the Pops hyped him up. So if you caught up in the hype, you think this nigga's a superstar, but really, he looks regular.
If you had the number 1 overall pick in the draft, are you taking Fultz, or are you?
No. I would take him because I'm caught up in the hype. So I'm gonna take him because everybody really wants him, but I think the father, they really don't want to deal with the Pops. So Magic can handle that.
And that's the thing. I think Magic can handle that. We need some type of. LA needs good basketball back. The last few years, the Clippers have been trying to do something, but they're just front runners over there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they don't need more help than the Knicks. The Knicks need help, right? The Knicks need help. From the finals, do you think? I think Melo's probably gonna join LB next year.
I hope the hell not. Like,
why?
I love Carmelo. That's one of my favorite players and whatnot. And he don't.
LB needs help. So
we're gonna talk. We're definitely gonna get into that. We are going to get into that. I don't know if that man needs help. I don't want to see Carmelo take his talents to Cleveland. But watching that game, I thought about that. I thought to myself, I could see Dwayne Wade going there next year. Somebody. He's gonna call somebody.
Wade is washed right now. He's washed up.
So you think the only go-to guy is Melo? That's the.
Melo or Chris Paul.
I think he's gonna be in San Antonio.
Not after LB makes that call.
I can respect that. So we got a great show lined up for you guys today. We wanted to get these things out of the way before we get into our NBA Finals talk, because we have a lot to discuss with the NBA Finals. We're gonna also play some new music. We're gonna talk about some 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz has a new project coming out on the 16th. We're gonna try to get him in the building real soon. But for the next few minutes, we're going to serenade you guys. We're going to check out some new Big Boy. Now, Big Boy has a few new projects that are in the work. He recently dropped off a new video with Killer Mike and Jeezy entitled Kill Jill. We're also going to take you to Chi-Town with Twista and Cat One. Many know Cat One for his works with the Street Execs, but Cat One is actually a Chicago native. So with this right here, Chicago links up. It'll be Twista and Cat One. We're going to play that for you. The video is called Baddest. Then we're going to take you to Houston. A little Travis Scott. Travis Scott, one of the hottest artists on the planet right now. We're going to play his video Way Back. And if you play close attention, you'll see an NBA MVP candidate that has a nice beard. You'll see him in the video as well. And then we're going to go to my hometown of Philly, play a little Meek Mills, that new Glow Up. And we're going to come right back and we're going to open the floor. We're going to talk about the NBA Finals Game 2. We're going to give you a little recap of what happened last night. We're going to move into what could happen Game 3. And then we're going to talk about legacies. We're going to talk about Durant, Curry, and just kind of and LeBron, of course, and see where their legacies stand right now. You know what it is? You're tuned in. These Urban Times. I'm your man, Terrell Thomas. You're locked in on Live Hip Hop Daily TV.